Good morning, everyone. This is Mitch. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Sunday and a great weekend so far. We're going to talk about the weather specifically for your Sunday, April the 10th. And then tonight, we'll continue to discuss what looks to be a severe weather outbreak, especially for Tuesday and Wednesday. But it's going to start off for tomorrow also for your Monday. So it's going to be another active weather week in the severe weather world of things. And then in the upper Midwest, there is likely going to be a big time blizzard for areas of the Dakotas and surrounding states. So we'll talk about that too tonight. But if you want to really listen to what could potentially happen, I made a video last night breaking down what we do know, but we're going to have better information tonight. So stay tuned for that. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I appreciate the ongoing support. As always, if you guys got anything I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. Gives me an opportunity to pray over it. Gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get going here. There's a few things to talk about for today, for your Sunday. Some severe weather expected. Upper trough continues to span the western U.S. into the central U.S. Along it, a short wave low will develop. Well, it's already kind of developed, but it will continue to move across the Midwest, the upper Midwest, and then into the Great Lakes region. With it, it's going to yank up some low-level moisture. Some dew points will rise into the 50s. So the closer you get to that actual low pressure, you're going to have a little bit of dynamics in place for areas like Missouri, and then maybe into Oklahoma, northeastern Oklahoma, into Missouri, maybe even Illinois, portions of southwest Illinois. Could have some severe weather today, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to briefly talk about another big-time system entering the northwest that's really going to kickstart a digging in this upper trough, and then pieces of energy are going to fly along this trough, and it's going to give us several days of severe weather and active weather as your trough gets negatively tilted, and we have some nasty weather coming into our work week. So let's talk about today, though. A slight risk up. This is expanded a little bit from what I talked about last night for today. You have a slight risk up. This includes areas of Springfield, Missouri, down into Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then just a pretty large chunk of Missouri here, central areas of Missouri, down into south central areas of Missouri, including southwest Missouri, and then northeast Oklahoma. Then you got the marginal area around it. Now, there is a question today whether storms really get going. There's a little bit of a cap in place. There's going to be a dry line in place, but we're not going to get deep into this. We're going to show you what the latest HRRR model potentially shows for this setup. So let's get going here. Let's talk about the eastern U.S. first. What could we see today? So let's get going here in time. Really, the upper trough is still influencing the weather up here in the northeast a little bit, but you guys in the southeast, and I'll talk about this here in a second, will begin to calm down. The snow is going to be tapering off. There's going to be some snow showers in interior New York State, especially the higher elevations. Some snow showers potentially in the interior northeast in general, and then some rain showers in the valleys and the lower elevations. But overall, a pretty relaxed Sunday in the weather world as far as precipitation, any kind of storm activity as we get into the afternoon hours. But then, of course, we watch the initiation of storms here in Missouri. We're going to get a little bit closer look at this for you folks in Missouri here in a second. But as far as temperatures, it is starting off pretty cold. In fact, here in South Carolina, out in the country areas, the rural areas outside the city limits, I've seen reports up into the upper 20s here in South Carolina. I'm just talking about specifically for my region. So hopefully you covered up some the sensitive plants that are very sensitive to them cold temperatures. But I really think as you have a return flow really building in behind this cold air aloft and this cold air to the surface influenced by this upper trough is going to begin to really flex even today as temperatures will begin to rebound very, very quickly throughout the morning hours to the afternoon hours. And then these areas that maybe wake up into the 20s this morning might get all the way up into the 70s today. So, even though it says 60s right here in the Carolinas, you guys, some areas could get into the low 70s, and then you're starting to heat up big time into the middle of the country, the south central U.S., the southern plains, the deep south, including Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, 70s to 80s for highs, Tennessee, even into Kentucky. You guys warm up substantially today compared to yesterday and the day before, with most of the state getting into the 50s and 60s. But big-time surface heating starts to build all the way into Missouri, and this will help some convective energy, some CAPE, to bubble up in this area, really because of surface heating and a little bit of decent dew points in place into the 50s. Nothing substantial at all, but you're going to have a little bit of surface moisture that builds also with the surface heating into the 80s into Missouri. So you're going to have those temperatures they're there, the thermodynamics in there for some severe weather in Missouri. So let's go on and talk about that too going forward here. For my folks also in Tennessee, in Florida, for you folks in Florida, you guys will be rising into the 70s in general, but it'll feel more like a spring day as opposed to a summer day in Florida today still, with nice, somewhat cooler weather for y'all's standards down there. But let's take a look at what could happen today in Missouri. So pretty much bone dry air, desert southwest air, desert air kind of spanning the course of the Midwest in general. But as we're getting going here in the afternoon and evening hours, you see these greens right here. These are dew points starting to rise into the 40s and 50s. Now that's not really big time moist air at all. But once you start to get dew points into the 50s, you start to have a little bit of moisture to work with at the surface for severe weather. So even though dew points are not going to be super supportive of anything significant in the severe weather category here, there is going to be some decent dew points in place that are going to add into some other favorable dynamics like some CAPE, some high-end CAPE, and then also some kinematics in place. The wind energy is aloft. It's going to be there to help to put that 2% risk of a tornado in this region, which I'll show you right here. Tornado percentage, a 2% risk, very small, but it's there, right? The wind threat here is 15% of 25 miles in any given location in this yellow area right here. Same thing pretty much as far as the hail threat. But there is this very small risk of a quick spin up today, but you really don't have that low-level moisture really there for any kind of big-time tornado development or anything. But this is considered a moist sector rising into this region in response to this surface low yanking this moisture northward. Just not a big-time return as far as moisture. That really builds into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But we can sit here and watch the thunderstorm development later this afternoon and evening. And here it comes. And let's get a little bit better of a look at this. Let's look at the 06Z, the latest long-range look at these storm potential here in Missouri. And watch this area right here as we're getting into the afternoon, the evening. We're starting to get to the point where the nighttime's falling. You look here, you're thinking, well, where's the storms? Well, here they are developing at around 8, 9 p.m. And really, there's just not much storm development. But this could change today. We got to watch. But that's why there's a big question on any kind of storm development today in general. And in fact, if there's going to be any kind of significant severe weather today, it's going to be overnight tonight. You got to remember these storm prediction days. And day one spans all the way through Monday morning, 12Z. So this is actually through all the way through your Monday morning. So technically, even though this is happening overnight, this is still in that day one outlook. So you could have some nasty storms. Watch out northeastern Oklahoma, southwestern Missouri, maybe overnight tonight. And then this might become some kind of mesoscale convective system. What I'm saying is maybe a line of storms develops here in this part of Missouri right into here. So we just have to watch out for that tonight. Maybe damaging winds, a quick spin up, and some hail, especially if any kind of supercells get going here. But it's going to be tough sledding. But you do have the dynamics in place for severe weather, but there's going to be some perimeters definitely in place. But, a little bit of snow is definitely possible with this short wave on the cold side of this, but nothing too crazy or anything like that. But some snow is definitely possible here. Down here in southwest areas of North Dakota, even areas of northern Nebraska. And then this cold air kind of gets wrapped up into this moisture in areas of Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. And then maybe as we're getting into the middle of the night tonight, a burst of heavy snow from northern Minnesota. But this is just the beginning of what could be an active winter stretch over the next several days for this region right here. But really, as this system this short wave really will try to become negatively tilted, and what will happen is it'll throw some robust moisture in this very small section of northeast Minnesota. So maybe some heavy snow really overnight tonight for these regions. But it's still pretty cold up in this area this time of the year. So we'll continue to move forward here. An upper trough continues to dig in this region, so it's starting to cool down in the western U.S. in general, where this trough really isn't influencing the weather down here deep in the southern sections of the western U.S., like the southwest. It's able to warm up somewhat, but the trough is influencing the weather. You guys up in the Pacific Northwest really begin to cool down. Snow levels begin to drop. and the temperatures will definitely not be warm like the last several days in this region. That's all response to this upper trough that's going to be the player in all this severe weather in the middle of the country these coming work days here in front of us here. But as far as moisture, snow levels are going to drop. So we're starting this off this morning in this region out here. You got a lot of moisture moving through Oregon, Washington State, Idaho. And these are all microclimates out here. You're all elevation dependent, so you're just not quite sure, depending on elevation, whether it's going to fall snow or rain. But it's definitely going to be a cloudy, snowy, or rainy day across your Sunday as moisture continues to funnel in as another big-time system really comes in here. And it's already starting to dig along the western coast. So you guys in Oregon, especially overnight, some heavy snow in the higher elevations and in the valleys and the coastal regions could really experience a lot of rain overnight tonight as a low pressure moves into the Oregon shoreline, and this will be a big time player in our severe weather going forward. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in this morning. I'll have y'all a big update this evening. We'll try to break down as much as we can as we get a little bit deeper in these short range models. God bless everybody. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to y'all soon.